That's beautiful because I'm sure it felt lonely for you many, many times
It did. It did. Again, it
because
was,
there's not many people going through that.
yeah. And your friends, we didn't have friends, at least that we knew of, that had struggled, whose kids had struggled with addiction and
Hmm.
definitely not with suicide. So yeah, it was a lonely path for us.
Thank you for tuning into Time for You Evolve for female entrepreneurs. Remember, you have what it takes to achieve greatness. Your time is now. You're here with me, you're ready to change lives, and you're ready to change the world. Isn't it time to skip over the confusion and start creating sustainable and consistent results? We're going to pull back the curtain and start giving meaning to life in this podcast. Time for You Evolved. Hey, my name is Lisa Carmichael, and I am obsessed with everything online. It's no secret in this crowded and highly competitive business world, we need to stand out. It's even more important at a deeper level to stand up for ourselves. I am a farm girl who grew up shy with zero confidence. If someone had suggested that I would eventually start a podcast, I would never have believed it. As a farm kid, I had the unique opportunity to embrace a holistic approach to life. All the seasons of growth were lessons that have helped me and other female entrepreneurs find success when they've been stuck and struggling. The Time for You Evolve podcast is here to help you navigate business online so you can be laser focused and help you navigate the messy and the magical in every season of your business. Pull up a seat to hear the tried and true secrets that other female entrepreneurs like you are facing and get ready for real talk while you learn. This is the Time for You Evolved podcast. Hey there, entrepreneurs, ready to work smarter, not harder? Then you're in for a treat. Let's talk about video marketing, the smart approach that attracts, retains, and converts faster than any other strategy out there. Hey, I get it. Video marketing can be daunting. You should be doing it, but you're not quite ready to take that leap, or you're frustrated because you're not looking like a pro. Hey, I get it. Who can blame you? Creating videos can be frustrating, time-consuming, and downright intimidating. That's where BigVu comes in. It's the solution for your frustration. With BigVu, you can create professional videos with ease thanks to its teleprompter app. I've been using BigVu for years. Did you know that? BigVu is an app that has saved me a lot of time and hassle. The app makes it easy to create professional looking videos. It's an online teleprompter that allows the presenter to keep eye contact with the camera while reading the text they need to speak. Using a teleprompter app allows the reader to sound natural without cue cards or notes to fumble or looking down while you're speaking. And the best part is that BigVu allows you to focus on your performance and delivery so your confidence shines through. You get to keep eye contact with the camera while you're reading your script. Whether you're a marketer, a blogger, a trainer, a freelancer, a publisher, or business owner, BigVu is designed with you in mind. If you're ready to take your video marketing game to the next level, click on the BigVu link on my website, lisarcarmichael.com/BigVu. Join me and be the best presenter you can be and learn how to make great presentations. And that's lisarcarmichael.com/BigVu.
We get started. Linda, I'm so grateful for you joining me on my podcast. It's very exciting to talk to fellow entrepreneurs, published authors, to share not only what they've been up to, but share a deeper message. Today on our show, I have Linda Morrison with me. She was a stay at home mom until she went to nursing school later in life. Like I said, Linda is a published author, and we met at Women of Words. It's a meeting where published authors, author wannabes meet once a month. And Linda had written a book about her son Mike and his addiction and death. It changed her world, and I really feel like she wants to change other people's worlds. Linda is a speaker and advocate for those who are caught in the circle of substance abuse. Welcome, Linda. And I know how much it means to you to have dedicated this book to your son and all the ups and downs that went with it. But before we jump into your book, I would like to just maybe have you introduce yourself and share what it is about you that can help our audience, the audience of ambitious, multi-passionate female entrepreneurs.
Okay. Well, thank you, Lisa, for having me on. I appreciate it. I always love the opportunity to talk about my son, Mike, and his journey, and through addiction, through death by suicide, but then how we have come out on the other side. Scarred, yes, but yet we still have full lives, our entire family. And that's what Mike wanted for us. He left a suicide note, and he told us to continue living our lives. And he had lived his best life, but just couldn't stay with us any longer. So I appreciate you having me on. I never intended to write a book. I never intended to be a speaker. I was, like you said, I was a stay-at-home mom. I was a nurse. But when Mike was doing well, he said, "Mom, if anything ever happens to me, I want you to tell my story." And I didn't know what that was going to be like. My first opportunity was to share at a treatment center where a friend of his works. And I thought that was going to be it. But over the course of time, people would say, "You need to write a book. You need to share this with others." And I think it just evolved. A speaker, and then I started taking classes at the Loft, and then I found a publisher and published my book, and then share my story. And really what I want is people to understand addiction, how far it can lead the one who's using, but also the impact it has on the families, and that you can come out on the other side. It's not easy. It's hard. There'll always be a void inside of us, inside of me, where Mike would be, but we've been able to move forward and live a good life.
This is such a deeper level of understanding. He died in 2012.
Yes.
And so it's been 12 years.
It'll be 12 years this summer, yeah.
And I'm sure every day is still raw as time goes by.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you think about him every day. You think about what you wish he was here. Things, I would wonder what he would be doing now as an adult, 30s. Would he be married? Would he be traveling? But I also miss the things that he's missing, watching his brothers get married, watching his oldest brother become a dad, seeing them going forward, and his friends too, seeing what they're doing. So it's a big loss for not just us and our family, but his friends and extended family and stuff.
And it's so important to find ways to comfort yourself. And I know for me, writing a book was a very healing process. I'm pretty sure that was the same for you.
It was very healing for me. It's very cathartic. Yeah, parts of it were very difficult to write, especially the parts where there were relapses of Mike's and situations that he put himself in that were really scary. But yet overall, it really helped my heart heal. And to know that I've gotten that story out and out of me. And I felt a lot of healing over the last writing it, but then having it out there. And the last few years, 12 years is a long time. And I feel fortunate that I am where I am in my journey. Not every mom gets to the place where I am. And I think I don't know why, but that can be really hard.
Oh, sorry. But don't you think it's because of the depth that you went into with your healing and with your struggle and with writing the book, that you were able to feel like really go deep. I mean, this is not just a book about surface pain. This is about the rawness that you were going through with his ups and his downs.
Yeah, and that's true. That is very true. But I think also a big part for me has been my faith. Some people call it God, higher power, and
Mm-hmm.
that has been paramount for me. And also just the support and love of family and friends. Our families really pulled together, stick together. Friends supported us, especially those early days, weeks, months. So we, like again, I said again, I'm very fortunate. We have had such support, and I am in my journey where I'm at.
Mm-hmm. Would you share the journey that you went through when you first found out that Mike had an addiction, and without giving away the full story that you've written in the book, how you found out and how you felt when you discovered that, and what you as a mom, you knew what you needed to do?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we actually, Mike and his dad and three friends and their dads were on a camping trip in the Boundary Waters in northern Minnesota. And his dad saw Mike in the back of a car in the middle of the night with aluminum foil and a lighter and inhaling something. And his dad had no idea what it was. So he didn't say anything until he got back. And he talked to my older son, Dan. And Dan did a little bit of checking and discovered what it was, that it was, he thought it was heroin. And we did a family intervention one Friday evening with Mike. And he freely admitted that he was using. He told us what he was using. And then
Mhm.
the bomb was he didn't know how to stop. And we, as a family, we were clueless. We were naive about what all of this was, what this meant. So he went through his first treatment center and his second and third, all the way through his 4 years later, his eighth treatment center. So it was a journey, and it was something we supported Mike with treatment, going to treatment every time. And he would have periods of sobriety. He would have periods where he did really well in recovery. He even relocated from Minnesota to Colorado, Carbondale. For 2 years, he was on fire in Carbondale. And he was just loved. And then he relapsed, had a few relapses during that time. And then we started hearing about suicide notes when he was hospitalized. And that was the first time ever that I heard from Mike. He was finding hopelessness. He was getting hopeless because he always loved life. He was
Mhm.
outgoing and he was just on fire. But I think the addiction just finally wore him down. And I think being so young, he was 23, he just didn't want to spend the rest of his life doing recovery and relapsing. And he was ashamed and he had a lot of guilt for his
Mhm.
relapses. And he assumed, because he was so disappointed in himself, that we were disappointed in him as well. And we really weren't. So
Oh.
it's like the snowball. It just keeps going, one relapse and it gets longer and harder and a little recovery. And it just, I think Mike just got tired and he said, I can't do this anymore.
Mm. I can't imagine. And I'm so grateful that you're sharing your story to help other people, because going back to that word healing, I mean, that has to be so healing that you know that something good can come from this. As you're telling this, I just feel for you. I don't know how to describe it. I hear you telling your story, and I hope talking about it is not a bad thing. And I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable talking about it. So I love that you're open to that conversation. How about the denial piece of it? Do you talk about that in your book at all? Something that you couldn't believe that could actually be happening to your son?
Denial for us wasn't a part of it. Denial for Mike, I think he didn't realize the depth of his addiction,
Mhm.
what a hold it had on him. And those first couple of treatments, that was very obvious. He didn't get it. He didn't understand it. And maybe he was just in denial about it, thinking
Mhm.
he could handle it, he could do it. For us, I think we were surprised, we were shocked
Right.
that he was using. But back then, that would have been in like 2008. As a teenager, kids drink, kids do marijuana, people do some drugs type of thing. So that piece wasn't unexpected, but the heroin was. I mean, I grew up, heroin addicts were like bottom of the barrel. I mean,
Mhm.
they were scum. They weren't bright, smart, articulate people.
Mhm.
You know, as I've come to understand addiction and heroin addiction, it can be anybody. It can be,
Mhm.
you know, it could be your mom, your dad, your pastor, the person at the grocery store next to you. I mean, it affects all people, all walks of life, all ages, all races. It's addiction is insidious. It gets in there.
Mhm.
And before
Mhm.
you know it, you're in a place that you never expected to be. And we felt like that too. We were in a place we didn't know what to do. We were naive. We thought he'd go to treatment his first time and he'd be all better. He'd be back to being Mike again.
Mhm.
And that wasn't the case. It changes you. Just like death changes you, a
Mhm.
divorce changes you, anything like that, you are changed. And we,
Mhm.
as a family, were changed. Mike was changed, but you deal with those changes, you move forward with those changes.
So, in speaking about change, you became more vulnerable than I'm sure you ever thought you could. And how has your life changed because you've become so vulnerable?
I think people don't talk about it, substance abuse or addiction. Then they definitely didn't. Death by suicide was taboo in a sense. You know, people
Mhm.
say, well, how did
Mhm.
Mike die? Could I die? And I would say, well, he died by suicide. And they couldn't wait to get away from me. It was almost like maybe I was contagious or it was contagious.
Oh.
That piece changed me. But I think with the support that we had because of Hazelton and the family program, we learned, my husband and I learned very early about addiction, about how it impacts the family, why Mike chose his drug of choice, all of those things, why he used to begin with his anxiety and depression and everything. So it's just been kind of a growth step by step with that. It was hard. I remember sitting on my deck when Mike was sharing, and all of my guys, we were all just crying because we didn't know what to do at that point. It was a Friday night. You can't
Mhm.
get help till Monday, and so we had to kind of live with all this over the weekend. But once we got information and Mike's insurance, and kind of on that first road, I was very tenacious in understanding addiction. I mean, I did a lot of research. I researched recovery, I researched relapse. I tried to be very proactive.
Okay.
I think for me, that helped my tenacity in that. I kept notes, I kept some journals. Those are the things that kind of were the impetus for the book. But yeah, it's not a journey for the faint of heart. It really isn't. And then, you know, you've got the addiction journey, and then you have the journey where by suicide. And that's a whole different journey. And that one
Mhm.
I think was harder in a sense to navigate because there just wasn't a lot of help out there and a lot of books and understanding. Unfortunately, I had people in my life who had lost
Mhm.
children, either to suicide or other means that were supportive. So we went from one journey to another, and then we had support. And then again, we've been able to give our support, and I've been able to give my support to others on the same journey.
I agree. Drugs and suicide are very taboo. People are afraid when someone brings it up. I can imagine you feeling like people want to run from you
Yeah,
instead of tell me more.
yeah,
Because, like I said before, I don't want to make you feel more pain, but you've already gone through that, brought you to the place where you have so much more hope. How have you taken that supportive role that you were supporting Mike and now supporting other people? Are you supporting moms, families? I guess it doesn't matter. You're going to support whoever you need to.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, people do know me. So reach out to me and say, hey, this mom I know lost her son, or this mom I know. Then I say, you know, give them my phone number, or can I have their phone number? So I can reach out like that. I had a neighbor, her daughter died by suicide. I went over there right away just with cards and flour and say, hey, I don't know I know what you're going through, and you may not want to talk to me about it now, but down the road, I want to be supportive. I go to treatment centers and I talk to the clients, I talk to the family members. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's really helpful for them, the clients, because when they're using, they're just thinking about using, how they're going to get their next drug, how they're going to pay for
Mm-hmm.
it, what they need to do. They're not going, oh, I wonder how mom's feeling about this. I mean, that's not even in their thought processes at that point. And so the clients then can hear me and say, wow, yeah, it did. It must have impacted my family. But then I can have the family members relate with me. That yes, these feelings that I share about the anger or the hurt, the constant lies, whatever, they're not, they can go, oh, I'm not alone. I'm not crazy. These things do happen. And that's,
Yeah.
yeah, when you're in this and it gets deeper and deeper, it just gets more crazy. And
Mhm.
and until you're in it, people just go, that can't happen. I mean, I was like that. I'd hear some of these stories from people, women, moms who were further down the journey, and their kids had just been in such straight and their journeys, things that they did that Mike at that point wasn't doing. I just kept
Mhm.
thinking, they're making it up. No, they're not. These things really do happen as that addiction takes them deeper and deeper.
One thing that I caught from you too, Linda, is that you say that drugs not only destroy a person, but the addiction destroys family. And can you kind of expand on that a little bit more?
Well, they call it addiction a family disease because
Okay.
it impacts everybody in the family, not just
Mhm.
the one using, but it impacted Alan and I. Our lives, obviously, emotionally, were turned upside down. Physically, it's stressful because you never know, they're out late, they don't call, you never know where they're at, especially when Mike was out of state. His brothers were impacted by it. They were angry at Mike. They didn't understand addiction. So they
Mhm.
just kept thinking, why doesn't he just stop? Why doesn't he just quit? And it doesn't work that way for addiction. Maybe marijuana, but any kind of addiction, really, they need help. Finances, you're helping support them through treatment. There were times Mike couldn't afford his car payment. When he lived in Colorado, he was working, but he still didn't make enough. So we would, send money. We would use his college fund. So eventually he used up his college fund. And then it got to be, he was covering why he needed the money. It's for rent, it's for this. Really, he was using, but we were
Mhm.
so far away. We maybe in the back of our heads we knew, but maybe we were in a little bit of denial and saying, no, he wouldn't use us like that. But yeah, and that's a sad thing to think that your child would use you, would lie to you, would steal. He would take money when he was here. He sold things that were in our attic that we never used, just
Mhm.
to get his drug of choice. And
Mhm.
that's tough. That's really tough. But as you understand addiction and understand substance abuse and where it can take you, that's kind of par for the course. I mean, that's just
Mhm.
how it is. And it
Mhm.
hurts and it's sad and you do get angry, but eventually, we just wanted to support him. We wanted to be there for him.
Of course.
Wherever he went, I always kept the door of communication. He could call me anytime, day,
Mhm.
night, sober, using, whatever. And I think Mike really appreciated that he had that unconditional love from us and that he could reach out in his most dire times. And in
Mhm.
the best of times, he would reach out as well. He would reach out as well.
Mhm. With turning a tragedy into an opportunity, you decided to, I'm guessing you journaled your thoughts and maybe transcribed it into a book. How long did that take you? Is that how it kind of happened?
So yeah, like I said before, I never really expected I would write a book. I did journal. Especially maybe the last 9 months were fall of 11 till when he passed in 2012, I did journal and I would just write my raw feelings down, what he was doing, what I was hearing. A lot of it was just memory from when first started. I just got on the computer and I would just start writing. I didn't make any chapters or things. I would
Mhm.
just write. And then it got to the place where I would ask Alan, my husband, about what were his thoughts, what were his impressions. And the boys had some input as well, but they are all introverts and talking about Mike, talking about his use, talking about his death. That's not something that they like to pull out. That's hard for them. It's emotionally exhausting. Me, I'm an extrovert. So talking about Mike, writing it, having that story where I could read it, for me, like I said, was healing. That helped me. Talking about it, going to treatment centers, going to churches, sharing with neighbors or people that I hear. For me, it doesn't deplete me. It does help me.
I love it. Very, very nice. It's beautiful. At what point did you decide to publish what you'd written?
So 2014, I started taking classes
Oh,
in
good
Minneapolis
idea.
at the Loft, it's a literary center in Minneapolis. And I started with just a personal writing class, and that was really helpful. The instructor was just so laid back, down to earth. And if I would have had a different instructor, I might not have continued. And then I would just take classes on writing, on memoir. I mean, I took probably classes for 3 or 4 years. And part of my writing assignments would be I would be writing parts of my book.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would just keep that. And then I had an instructor that just really, her and I really hit it off. We really gelled. And so I just took the opportunity and asked her once, would you look at my manuscript and see if you could help me? And she did. She helped me for quite a while. And she finally got to the place where she said, I can't refine this any further. You need to find a publisher and an editor. And so then that's what I did. I started looking around, reaching out. Since I'm in Minneapolis, we have a lot of good publishing companies here. So I chose YZ Creative Publishing and had 2 fantastic editors. The company was really great to work with. I mean, just every step of the way, they were supportive. In the end, I had a book that I was proud of to get my story out. So
Sounds
yeah,
like a good experience. I love it because what you wrote about was really tough subject matter. It was something that people aren't willing to talk about. That's awesome that you did that and you were willing to take a chance. And I'm sure how supportive was your family by sharing some of your deepest thoughts?
they were okay with it. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, they really were. They would give me bits and pieces. Like we'd be maybe in conversation and something about Mike would come up and I would hear them and I would write it down. And
Nice.
so then later they could see it, they could read it. Alan took my manuscript, my husband, and he spent an entire day reading through it. Now
Mhm.
that I give that man so much credit for doing that because
Yeah.
it was tough.
Yeah.
And it was hard for him. I mean, very, very emotional for him to read it. But he added so much depth to the book, and he
Mhm.
remembered things I didn't remember, and
Mm.
he fine-tuned things a little bit. So it really did work out, and it was tough on him, but I'm so grateful that he was able to put himself out there and do that because it made the book even deeper and richer, I think.
So do you have a favorite part of the book? I think you were saying something about the dedication.
Well, the dedication to Mike, yeah, I can read that to you. But,
Yeah.
just the times when Mike was in Colorado and he was sober
Uh-huh.
were good times. And I
Yeah.
was able to spend a couple of weeks with him at one point.
Mm.
And just to see him active in his recovery, active in his community, the lives he impacted. I mean, he touched so many people for being 23 years old. I mean, he touched older people. He touched so many people with
Mm.
his personality. And I mean, Mike was either 0 or 100%. When he was 100%, he was on. So, yeah. So I have some really great memories of things that him and I did when we were out there. And
Mm.
so, yeah, but I will read the
Yeah,
dedication.
I would love for you to do that.
Okay. This book is dedicated to my son, Michael Thomas, a great warrior who lost his battle with addiction, the thousands of warriors who have lost their battles, and to those who are still in the heat of this conflict. To all the loving families who have fought valiantly beside their sons and daughters, their siblings, their spouses, parents, grandparents, or friends. All the families currently on the front lines of this devastating disease. I have been where you are. I know your pain and sorrow and losses. I stand beside you, not knowing how or when the tide may turn in favor of you or your loved one. But I want you to know you are not alone.
Mm, that's beautiful because I'm sure it felt lonely for you many, many times
It did. It did. Again, it
because
was,
there's not many people going through that.
yeah. And your friends, we didn't have friends, at least that we knew of, that had struggled, whose kids had struggled with addiction and
Hmm.
definitely not with suicide. So
Yeah.
it was a lonely path for us. People supported us as best they could with the tools and the understanding they had. But yeah, it was lonely during those first few couple of years with his addiction, and then after, because there aren't tons of friends who have lost children to addiction, although we do have some. And I've been introduced to other moms who lost children too. So I kind of have a little tribe, my own little community of other moms that I can, call and cry to or text or email or whatever. And so that is really helpful.
Your story here today on Time for You podcast is your recovery as a mom that experienced something that you never anticipated in life, and how you stepped into becoming an author, and now you've become a speaker. That's pretty amazing. I hope you're really proud of yourself that you can help so many other people by speaking and sharing your story.
I am. I really am. I do get a lot of support and kudos from my family. When I go out and speak to treatment centers, they always know, and they're always thinking about me or saying a prayer for me, and they always check in. Well, how did it go? And and sometimes they've just said, Sean, my middle one, goes, Mom, I'm so proud of you. That's really hard. My husband too. They've just all said in one way or another that, yeah. And my oldest actually read the book. I never expected him to. He read it, and I think it gave him a perspective on Alan and I that he didn't have. And now that he's a parent, I think that really impacted him because of that. I mean, though his kids are really, they're just little kids. And Sean, my other son, has not read it. He's got the book, but he said, I don't know if I'll ever read it. But he and Mike were really close. And I think reading it would really, really be very emotional for him. And maybe someday he will. And if he doesn't, that's fine. He lived alongside of us. He lived it with us. So
Yeah. In closing, do you have anything exciting coming up that you want to share with listeners, that they can follow you or learn more about what's going on with you as an author and as a speaker?
A lot of the speaking events I do usually are more private events, like at treatment centers and churches and stuff. So I don't have anything right on the horizon now. But hopefully this fall, I will be back at it again, doing more speaking. I'd like to do a little bit more writing. Where I will be or what I'm going to be doing, that will be on my website.
Okay, that's great. So people can follow along your website if you want to share it. And we'll also put that in the show notes today.
So it's www.dearheroinbook.com.
Okay.
There's a little history about me, about our journey, resources. People are struggling. If they know somebody or if it's a loved one, some resources for them. Yeah, just a variety of some other podcasts I've done. You can buy my book, just things like that on the website. So,
well, and even your resources, well-known institutions here in Minnesota, correct?
Yeah. So I'm real familiar with a lot of the treatment centers and their programs, and Hazelton and Project Turnabout. There's Welcome Manor, which is for women. There are lots. Minnesota is really fortunate to have such a good recovery community and treatment centers, and that can really help people get out of, or at least get on the road to recovery and out of their addiction or substance abuse.
It's important to feel comfortable with where you go for help. So I appreciate you sharing those locations, those institutions, because you don't know what you don't know. I really believe, Linda, that you're a person that someone could just come to you and you would have an open, honest conversation with them without hesitating.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're right. Thank you. Everybody has a story, and, even if they don't publish their story, even just writing it down, getting your story out there, because everybody does have some sort of a story that they've lived, and you never know who might end up publishing or reading it. And I would just encourage people, just start writing. You can self-publish, you can find a traditional publisher, a hybrid publisher like what I had. I think just getting people's stories, because they might not think it's important to them, but one person might hear it and can relate, and it might change their life.
Definitely. Are you still journaling? Do you journal every day?
Not as much as I used to. No, I don't journal. I do some just personal introspective type of thing, but yeah.
Great. Yeah,
that's important to me.
it is. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks again. I really appreciate you. Yeah. All right. Wow, that was the most fabulous interview. And my heart just goes out to Linda and her family with losing her son not only to heroin, but also suicide. I can't imagine. I love my kids dearly, and I'm sure it had to be heart-wrenching for her to go through that. So please visit her website, check the show notes for her website. It's dearheroinbook.com. If you are struggling or you know someone who is struggling, you know me, and I hope you know me well enough that you can reach out to Linda, because I know that she would be your number one advocate if you are going through any kind of a difficult time. All right, that's a wrap. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing y'all next time.
If you're ready to supercharge your email marketing and automation game, look no further than my favorite autoresponder, ActiveCampaign. It's the ultimate all-in-one platform designed to turn your contacts into customers and your customers into loyal advocates. Imagine having a tool that not only understands your customers, but anticipates their needs. That's what ActiveCampaign does. With its powerful customer experience automation, you can create personalized journeys that nurture leads, drive sales, and build lasting relationships. The biggest reason I chose ActiveCampaign after trying other autoresponders is because I wanted to make sure my emails were being delivered and not going into spam. I need to know that my emails actually get to the people I'm emailing so that I have good engagement rates, response rates, and click-through rates on every email I create. Then I can have peace of mind that what I send out about my blog posts or upcoming events gets delivered and that people get to read what I write. And since it's just me, using ActiveCampaign saves me a bunch of time because I've been setting up automations that I can just drag and drop, allowing me to save hours of time. Not only have their pre-built automations and integrations saved me time, I'm able to power a personalized marketing plan throughout the customer's life cycle. In the end, I really want to personalize my message and make sure that each person is getting a unique email tailored to them, because I don't want to be sending bulk cookie cutter emails. I want to make sure that my customers and community is getting things that are tailored to them as much as I can. Email marketing doesn't have to be crazy where you're not just pushing information. ActiveCampaign teaches you how to be pulling information as well. I appreciate the value I've received from ActiveCampaign when it comes to creating and managing email campaigns. The support through webinars, live chats, and live study halls have been very helpful in maximizing their platform and a great alternative to those other email services I've tried in the past. ActiveCampaign allows me to build a business without relying on advertising. It has simplified my marketing processes, saving me time, which allows me to focus on what I do best, serving my customers. Whether you're a small business or just starting or a seasoned entrepreneur, ActiveCampaign scales to meet your needs and grows with you. If you're ready to up your marketing game, go to my website, lisarcarmichael.com/ActiveCampaign. That's my partner link, and sign up for a free trial. Experience firsthand the power of ActiveCampaign and take your marketing to a new level. Don't miss out. Stay ahead and stay automated with ActiveCampaign. Go to lisarcarmichael.com/ActiveCampaign for your free trial. Hi friends. Today let's have a heart-to-heart about something that's been a significant part of my life, skincare. As a busy female entrepreneur, I need a skincare routine that's quick, easy, and super effective. Turning 60 didn't bother me because I've been taking care of my skin every day for 20 plus years. I didn't always, but I'm glad I did start when I did. Let's fast forward to 1 year ago, and let me tell you about a game changer for me. I stumbled across my secret weapon, Droplet. Droplet is not your typical skincare company. It's a revolutionary approach that delivers personalized monthly skincare subscriptions tailored to your specific skin type. The magic lies in the Droplet Micro Infuser, a device that creates microscopic droplets from formulated capsules, expelling them at a high velocity to infuse ultra-concentrated active ingredients deep into your skin. Now, I'm a self-proclaimed skincare junkie. I've tried it all, from serums to spa treatments, and even once selling a natural body care line. So when I heard about Droplet, I knew I had to give it a shot. I can confidently say it's made a remarkable difference in my skin and my routine. The Droplet Skincare Micro Mist Infusing Device is a game changer. It uses a gentle mist to penetrate ingredients 20 times deeper through micro mist technology. It works with formulated capsules similar to an espresso machine, allowing you to infuse the treatments that are right for you into, not just onto, your skin. Here's how Droplet works. Choose your serum, collagen, retinol, glycolic acid, or maybe a lip plumper. Insert the capsule, hold the device to your face, and press the button. A fine mist of the serum is released onto your skin, targeting your face, your neck, chest, anywhere you want to focus on. These misting capsules have transformed my skincare routine. The results are incredible, from increased resilience to fading hyperpigmentation. Why do I love Droplet? It's quick, easy, and the capsules are recyclable. No cleanup, no hassle. And here's the bonus. Droplet's formulas are clinical strength, dermatologist recommended, cruelty-free, sulfate-free, paraben-free, gluten-free, soy-free, fragrance-free, and vegan. It's a skincare lover's dream. If you're looking to level up your skincare routine and evolve beyond the basics, Droplet is your answer. Plus, they offer free skin consultations with their estheticians to address your skin concerns. Investing in a good skincare routine and self-care is crucial for any woman, especially us busy entrepreneurs. First impressions matter, and you want to put your best face forward. It's time to evolve and embrace the next level of skincare. Head over to the Droplet link on my website today, where you can start your own personalized Droplet routine. Here's to glowing, radiant, and fiercely beautiful you, no matter what age you are. Go to lisarcarmichael.com/droplet. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Time for You for Female Entrepreneurs. If you loved this episode as much as I did, head on over and rate and subscribe so you never miss an episode. New episodes drop every week, and if you want to support the show, leaving a review goes a long way. A special shout out to our amazing partners and sponsors. Their support allows us to continue bringing you engaging content every week. And with that, a big thank you. I look forward to seeing you next time.